They planned to kick me out of my own home, just to make my brother's family comfortable. That one sentence still burns in my head. I remember standing in the kitchen, holding my mom's message on my phone, rereading it again and again, just to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding it. But no, it was real. My own parents had decided that my duplex, the one I built from the ground up, would become my brother's new start. And apparently, I was supposed to be happy for him and find another place for a while. Before I tell you what happened next, make sure you hit share, like, and subscribe, because what I did after this message shocked my entire family, and no one saw it coming. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the shaking in my hands. My brother Ryan had always been the golden child, the one who could do no wrong, even when he failed college 3 times, crashed my dad's car, and still managed to get a brand new SUV a month later. Meanwhile, I was the one working 14-hour shifts, saving every penny and living below my means just to buy my duplex, a place I dreamed of renting out someday. But now, my parents were treating it like their property, as if all my work meant nothing. My mom's voice echoed in my head from our last phone call. "Mynce, you don't need that much space anyway. You're single, he has a family. It's only fair, fair?" My heart sank. When I struggled to pay my first mortgage installment, no one offered to help. When I was crying on the bathroom floor because the roof leaked during the storm, Ryan was partying in Mexico with my parents' credit card, and now they were telling me he deserved my home more than I did. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the floor, surrounded by the documents, my mortgage papers, renovation receipts, loan agreements, everything with my name on it. Every memory of late nights painting walls, fixing plumbing, learning to budget, all flashing through my head. They wanted to hand it over for free, just like that. The next day I went to my parents' house to confront them. My mom looked nervous, but my dad had that calm, dismissive smile he always used when I was being emotional. Ryan was there too, holding coffee like he owned the place already. "Mynce," Dad began. "We thought about this carefully. Ryan's family needs stability. You'll get another place soon. Maybe rent a small apartment for now?" My jaw clenched. "So you're giving my house to him?" "It's not just about you," Mom said quickly. "You're single, he has kids." I stared at them. My parents, who had never visited during my renovation, who didn't even know what the inside of my duplex looked like, now acting like they had the right to take it away. Ryan leaned back and smirked. "Don't worry, sis. We'll take good care of it." That was it. That one smug line flipped a switch inside me. My fear turned into something colder. A quiet rage. I smiled, stood up, and said softly, "You can try, Ryan. You really can." My dad frowned. "What do you mean?" I walked toward the door. "You'll see soon." What they didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I had spent the last few months preparing for something big, something that would change everything about that duplex, and who truly owned it. And the next morning, when they tried to move in, they realized they'd made the biggest mistake of their lives. When Ryan's SUV pulled up in front of my duplex that morning, I was already standing inside, coffee in hand, curtains slightly open, watching them unload boxes like it was their property. His wife, Tessa, stepped out in oversized sunglasses, already barking orders. My parents were there too, smiling proudly as if this was some kind of family milestone. I didn't say a word. I just waited, because in exactly 2 minutes, they were going to find out the truth. Ryan walked up to the front door with a box in his hand, ready to insert his shiny new copy of the key my mom had made for him. He turned it, nothing. Tried again, still nothing. His brows furrowed. "Mom? Did you give me the wrong key?" My mom frowned. "No, honey. That's the one I made from the spare she left at our place." She stopped mid-sentence when I opened the door. "Looking for this?" I asked, holding up my keyring. The shock on their faces was priceless. My dad stepped forward, frowning. "Mynce, don't be childish. We talked about this." "Yeah," I said calmly. "You talked." I never agreed. Ryan tried to push past me. "You can't stop us from moving in." Mom and Dad said. I interrupted, my voice low but sharp. "It doesn't matter what they said, because as of yesterday, This property doesn't even belong to me anymore. My mom blinked. What are you talking about? I smirked and pulled a document from my folder. It belongs to my company. That one word hit like a thunderclap. My dad's confident look vanished instantly. Your what company? Mynce Properties LLC. I said it slowly, letting the name hang in the air. I transferred ownership last week. So technically, this duplex isn't my personal asset anymore. It's owned by my business. Which means if you want to move in, you'll need to apply for tenancy like everyone else. And just so you know, the current rent is $3,500 a month, non-negotiable. Ryan's jaw dropped. You can't do that. Oh, I already did, I said. And since I'm the managing director, I also filed for tax exemptions and insurance protection. So, even if you tried to legally challenge it, you'd be fighting a corporate entity, not me. My dad's voice cracked for the first time. You're seriously putting money over family? I laughed bitterly. Funny. That's exactly what you did when you decided to hand my home to Ryan for free. There was silence. My mom's eyes darted around, searching for a way out of this awkward reality. Ryan looked humiliated, his wife whispering something under her breath that sounded like, "You said she'd just give up." I stepped closer and said quietly, "You've all spent your lives treating me like I'd never stand up for myself. Well, congratulations. Now you're standing outside a property you'll never own." Ryan's face turned red. "You think you've won?" he shouted. "This isn't over." I shrugged, stepping back into my home. "You're right. It's just beginning." Then I shut the door, slowly, deliberately. And for the first time in years, the silence that followed felt like freedom. But the peace didn't last long. That evening, I got an email from my bank. Someone had tried to freeze my business account. The name attached to the attempt? Ryan M. Lawson. I stared at the screen, realizing my brother wasn't done yet. He wasn't just angry. He was planning something bigger. The email felt like a punch to the stomach. For a few seconds, I just stared at the screen, my mind spinning. Ryan had actually tried to freeze my company's account, my entire source of income, just hours after being exposed in front of our parents. That wasn't just desperation. That was war. I called the bank immediately, pretending to be calm. The manager confirmed it. "Yes, Miss Lawson. Someone claiming to be your partner tried to file a fraud alert under your business name." My jaw tightened. "Did they provide documentation?" I asked. "Yes," the manager replied. "He submitted a copy of an ownership agreement with your signature. But we noticed the date was off. My signature. My fake signature." I hung up, my heart racing. Ryan had forged my documents. That's how far he was willing to go. I couldn't believe it. My own brother was trying to destroy me financially, right after my parents tried to take my house. I grabbed my phone and called my lawyer, Ethan, who'd helped me set up the company structure in the first place. When I told him what happened, he sighed. I was afraid he'd do something stupid. But don't worry, Mynce. I've seen the documents he used. He copied your old freelance contract and replaced the header. So he left a trail, I said quietly. Exactly, Ethan replied. And if we move fast, we can turn this against him. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the times I helped Ryan, paying his credit card bills, helping him find jobs he quit within weeks, covering for him when he messed up. I'd always been the fixer, the quiet problem solver. But this time I wasn't cleaning up his mess. I was ending it. The next morning, I called my parents and told them to meet me at a cafe downtown. They showed up looking uneasy, probably expecting another argument. Ryan came too, still acting cocky. He slid into the seat across from me with a fake smile. "So, sis," he said smoothly. "Ready to make peace?" I smiled back. "Actually, I came to make things right, but not in the way you think." Before he could speak, I pulled out a file and dropped it on the table. Inside were printed copies of his forged documents, timestamps, and the bank's report. "You really shouldn't use my old digital signature template," I said, my voice calm. "It leaves a unique ID tag." His face drained of color. "You found out?" I finished for him. "Of course. Did you really think I built a property company and didn't secure my digital assets?" My dad frowned. "What is this?" "This," I said, pointing at the papers. is your son's attempt to commit corporate fraud using my business name." My mom gasped. Ryan's wife tried to grab the file, but I pulled it back. "Don't bother," I said sharply. "I've already sent the full report to my attorney. And just so you know, the bank's fraud division too." Ryan slammed his hand on the table. "You wouldn't dare!" I leaned forward, my voice ice cold. "You dared first." The cafe went silent. Even the barista froze mid-pour. My dad looked between us, finally realizing this wasn't some petty sibling fight anymore. This was legal. Real. Ryan stood up, breathing hard. "You'll regret this," he hissed. I tilted my head, smirking. "No, Ryan. For the first time, you will." As he stormed out, my mom tried to follow, but I stopped her. "I told you," I said quietly. "You should have never picked sides in a fight you didn't understand." That night, Ethan called again. "He's already trying to delete his tracks," he said. "But I've got something better. Proof that your parents helped him access your old files." I froze. "You mean, yes," Ethan said. "They were in on it from the start." I sat there in silence, realizing that this wasn't just about property or money anymore. My whole family had turned against me, but they forgot one thing. I built everything they tried to steal. And that meant I could destroy every plan they made, piece by piece. Cliffhanger. Next section. Mynce secretly turns the tables on all of them by exposing her parents' involvement in Ryan's fraud. Live. During a family peace dinner, they set up to manipulate her again. You said, Next ChatGPT said, a week later, I received a text from my mother. "Dinner at our house tonight. Let's fix this as a family." I laughed out loud when I read it. Fix this? After they'd tried to ruin me, freeze my accounts, and forge my signature? It was almost insulting how predictable they'd become. But I agreed anyway, because this time I had a plan. I dressed in calm professional black. No anger, no tears, just control. Before leaving, I checked my phone to make sure the voice recorder was running. Ethan had helped me install a live stream backup. If anything went wrong, the audio would upload automatically to cloud storage. Tonight, they'd reveal everything themselves. When I arrived, the atmosphere was staged. My mom greeted me with a forced smile. My dad looked nervous, and Ryan sat smugly at the head of the table, pretending to be relaxed. "Glad you could make it, sis," he said, sipping wine. "Maybe we can end this drama." I sat down quietly. "That's exactly what I came for," I said, setting my phone face down on the table. An ending. Dinner started awkwardly. My mom tried to talk about family unity. My dad mumbled about misunderstandings. But Ryan, he couldn't help himself. "You know, Mynce," he said, leaning back, "you've always been too emotional. If you'd just shared things earlier, we wouldn't have needed to." "Improvise," I raised an eyebrow. "Improvise? You mean forge legal documents under my name?" He froze, realizing he'd said too much. My mom shot him a warning look. "Mynce, please," she interrupted quickly. "Your brother made mistakes, but he only wanted to protect our family. You have so much already. Can't you just forgive him?" I let out a quiet laugh. "Protect the family? By trying to take my company? By getting you two to help him access my records?" My dad's fork dropped. "That's not true," he said sharply. "Oh, it's true," I said, pulling out a small folder from my purse. Ethan traced the login activity. The files were downloaded using Mom's laptop and your Wi-Fi network. You helped him. You both did. For a moment, silence swallowed the room. My mom's face went pale. My dad's hands trembled. Ryan muttered, "You're bluffing." I looked him dead in the eyes. "Then let's test that." I turned my phone over, pressed play, and suddenly, their own voices filled the room. Ethan had stitched together the call recordings Ryan made when he thought he was being smart. Mom's voice played first. "Use my computer. She won't notice." Dad's, "Just make sure her accounts look frozen before she catches on." Then Ryan's smug laugh. "She'll crawl back begging." Their faces went white. My mom whispered, "You recorded us?" I smiled faintly. "No, you recorded yourselves. You really thought you could outsmart me, the same daughter you called paranoid for encrypting her files." Ryan slammed his fist on the table. "You're trying to destroy your own family." I leaned forward, my voice calm but sharp. No, Ryan, I'm showing the world who my real family is. My mom's voice cracked. You wouldn't tell anyone. I stood up, adjusting my blazer. Actually, I already did. The lawyer, the bank, and the board. They all know. You wanted my success? You wanted to live in my duplex? Congratulations. You just moved into my lawsuit. My dad stood, his face red. You ungrateful child. I turned toward the door, pausing just long enough to glance back. No, Dad. I was the grateful one. Until I learned gratitude means nothing to people who see you as property. I walked out as their voices rose behind me. The sound of panic, denial, and fear blending into one. Outside, the cool night air felt like freedom. For the first time in years, I wasn't the quiet, obedient daughter. I was the woman they'd underestimated, and I'd just burned down their illusion of control. When I got into my car, my phone buzzed with a message from Ethan. Press conference confirmed for tomorrow. The board supports you fully. I stared at the screen, a smile slowly forming. They wanted to destroy my name. Tomorrow, I'd make sure the whole world knew mine.